it as matrix or union? A union B or matrix? Matrix or union? Matrix one, right? Yeah. I'm not that good in math, so that's okay. So now let's move on for selenium. We already talked about introduction to selenium and components of the selenium, right? And features of the selenium. We'll talk brief about each component what we have here. Okay. What is the first component? IDE. IDE is Eclipse is what? IDE only. IDE stands for Integrated Development Environment. Okay. It is just what is IDE? IDE is a add-on. IDE is a add-on to the browser. You can add multiple add-ons, whichever add-on you wanted to add, you can add multiple add-ons to your browser. What is IDE? IDE is nothing but a add-on. Add-on for what? Browser. Is IDE is add-on available for all the browsers? Answer is no. IDE is add-on only to Firefox browser and only to the Chrome. Initially, IDE they have given only for Firefox. IDE was available only for the Firefox. Later, they also given this add-on to the Chrome. Later, they also given add-on to the Chrome as well. So it's got strong feature of record and playback. What IDE is going to do? IDE is going to record and playback. IDE is going to record and playback. So what it is going to record? Whatever transactions I'm going to do, whatever transactions I'm trying to do, IDE is going to record them. Whatever transactions I'm going to do, IDE is going to record those transactions and playback. What transactions? What do you mean by transactions? My test case. Test case will have steps. So what you do, you take the test case and take the test steps and go step by step. Is it visible for everyone backside? Okay. So take the step by step and try to record your test cases. And once you record the test cases, what IDE is going to do? IDE is going to allow you to run whatever you have record. IDE is having option called record and playback. In earlier, not now, I think 15-16 years back, nearly 15-16 years back, whenever we say automation means record and playback. It was not this much typical. Just record and play, record and play. Automation was not that tough, but later on they keep on adding some programming languages. Then you are forced to go for learning the programming language. Now they also change the designation itself. They also change the designation itself. What they are calling now? SDET. They are calling it as a SDET. Now go to Google and search in the Naukri. You'll find so many opportunities for SDET. Even for freshers, also they are giving designation as SDET trainee or something like that. Okay, just search with what SDET. SDET automation. See, SDET manager means it's an architect role. The designation is manager. SDET manager means it's a architect, automation architect. SDET automation testing. Similar word. SDET with C#, SDET with Selenium, etc., etc. Just with SDET. Just search. 28,778 jobs. How many we got yesterday for Selenium? 11,000. See how many they are opening for SDET. How many you have? 28,778 jobs. Understand, SDET has become mandatory. SDET has become mandatory. Now they are changing the designation. SDET, see, earlier they were saying automation test engineer. Now they are saying SDET automation test engineer. SDET automation engineer. Right? Automation test engineer hyphen SDET. How much experience they are asking? 2 to 4 years. Here, 4 to 8 years. Right? And last 10 days, these are the jobs what they have. SDET with C#, automation API. SDET. Let's see some why I'm showing this job I'm just trying to show you what they are expecting, what companies are expecting before starting our automation testing, so that you can be serious about whatever designations, I mean, responsibilities they are asking. You own end-to-end testing of the data pipeline and platform setup, set best practices. You create necessary automation library framework. What is the experience? 1 to 3 year. 1 to 3 years, they are expecting to set the framework as required. Build automation test. Ensure health of the platform. Right. You also responsible for driving meetings and new initiative and innovation. You guys know innovations. Every corporate company has some concept called writing the white papers. Do you know what you mean by writing the white papers? They always say, whenever I go and ask my supervisor, example I'm telling, whenever I go and I ask my supervisor why salary percentage is very less increased. Every year they increase your salary, right? When I go and I ask my boss, example I'm giving, why only 10 percentage? Why not 20? Why are you giving only? Then they will ask, did you write any white papers? Answer is no. Did you invent any innovations? Did you invent anything new by which you can save money to the client? No. They will use all these things to make you come down. Next year, we should, before going to ask why this much only, you need to go with all. See, these many white paper. White paper means you have to write the white papers. White paper means you innovate something. Innovations, right? Inventing the new things always, right? And participate day-to-day QA tasks, research into new test validation technologies, research, work with cross-functional teams, etc., etc. SDET, depending on the role you are placed in. Encourage and drive initiative with the promote innovations and technical, etc., etc., etc. Okay, they are asking Selenium, they are asking Rest Assured, they are asking Apache PY. Apache PY, any will learn in the Selenium, but that they're asking TestNG, we'll be learning TestNG also. Experience MySQL. Okay, just leave it. So you can understand, right? How many jobs are there for SDET role? 28, almost all 29,000, right? Experience in? No, you search with the freshers, right? When you are searching, you have an option to select. I did not select any fresher here. So you go back and here search SDET. Generally, SDET will not have fresher. Just put fresher, click on search. 249 jobs for the freshers. Don't go with the SDET. Fresher generally will not be considered as SDET. SDET will come only for the manual testing. There are so many keywords you have: black box testing, soft functional testing. Then you have whatever. Now consider as a fresher and then search. 1866 only for manual testing. I'm searching. Okay, don't worry. Testers having huge opportunities. Just search criteria not showing doesn't mean you will not have fresher jobs. There are a lot of freshers. I don't want to give the company name. They are hiring 20,000, 30,000 freshers. Understand? One company 20,000, 30,000 freshers they are hiring. Every day there is a walk-in drive. Every day there is a walk-in drive. Okay. Now let's come back to the IDE. IDE basically stands for integration development. It is nothing but a add-on. It is nothing but a add-on to the Firefox browser or to the Chrome browser. Initially, when they introduced it only with the Chrome. Oh, sorry, Firefox. Later, they also added it to the Chrome. So if you wanted to download, I don't recommend you guys to use the IDE. Don't use it. If you use it, it will be not a problem. You'll be losing your learning curves. It will help you some things to do in automation. If you use to IDE, you will not learn. Okay. So just ignore it. Now Selenium also having RC. I'm given detailed steps how to download IDE. Just try to download and then try to do recording. Now RC basically I said deprecated, so no need to discuss and to waste the time. So first what we need to understand how automation is going to work. Now example, we're not jumping into automation. We're not jumping into Selenium now. First I'm trying to explain how automation works. Don't think it is only with the Selenium. It is common for all functional tools that are available in the market. How many types of tools you have? Functional and non-functional. I'm explaining how functional automation is going to work. Don't think it is only for Selenium. All tools have these common features. Without this, no tool can be automated. Now, what is my first step? Let's assume I'm doing manual testing. Let's assume I'm doing manual testing. Now, I will open my manual test case. So I have verify user is able to log in with valid user ID. Now I'm trying to execute this test case. Verify user is able to log in with valid user ID and password. Is it better? Now what I will do manual testing, I will follow step by step, whatever steps are given in manual testing. What is my first step? Open the browser and type application URL. So I should give you the URL here. Now I'll go open the browser, type the application URL. I opened the browser. It is already there in my favorites. So I'll enter the application URL. Now, what I am saying, enter the first step is done. What is the next step? Enter correct user ID. This is how we do manual testing. Instead of going through the Excel, you go to the test management tool. Instead of going to the Excel, we already written a test cases in test management tool, right? So go to the test management tool, open your test case, understand the step by step. You use these steps to automate your test case. You use these steps to automate your test case. What is the first step? It is asking enter the user ID. Next step, enter the password. Next step, click on login. And what is the next expected result? System should allow the user to log in, and by default, dashboard is selected. And GUI is displayed as per the screenshot given in SRS or in user store. Most of the time, we don't automate the GUI. It is very difficult to automate the GUI to understand, right? So most of the time, you may not be able to automate this logo. You need to recognizing this logo is a bit difficult. So most of the time, we do not automate GUI test cases. We do not automate field level test cases also. We do not automate GUI and field level test cases also. If some client is saying to automate field level also, if some client is saying automate GUI also, then client is not matured enough. I mean, they do not have, we have something called ROI. Do you guys know what is our ROI? Return on investment. When once you get into a job, once you go to test lead designation level, then we talk about these terminologies. ROI means return on investment. What do you mean by return on investment? Return on investment means if you want me to automate GUI test cases, if you want me to automate field level validation test cases, I need to spend a lot of time for doing the automation testing. When I'm spending a lot of time, it's an investment to the client. They're paying, right? Whatever I'm doing the coding, client is paying. So what return you are getting on investment? Paying for client paying means it's investment to the client. What return you are getting? Return on investment. Mostly this would be used in your share market. What is the ROI? Return on investment. So I used to explain to the client. I was having very tough lady. Never ever listens. I used to explain no GUI not required. Field level is not required. Field level, do you think as a, see, when you automate functional test cases only. Why? Because do you think end user will use space and click on login? Do you think end user will leave admin user ID and enter password, click on login? And she was asking to automate these test cases. Does it make any sense? I explained a lot of time. She did not listen. I spoke to my supervisor, who is a senior manager, who is into IT industry for 20 plus years. He was a kind of associate director designation. He also explained, he showed you ROI, we are spending this much time, where you are, what is the use, are we going to use it anywhere it is useful? Answer is no. She said, no, still I want Ashok to automate this. And he said, I'm helpless, Ashok, go. Okay, I will do. What is my problem? I have to spend the time, they are paying money, company getting money, their investment is getting wasted. Always remember, we are going to automate only functional test cases. We are not going to automate field level and GUI because nowhere it is useful. Why we are using automation? For regression purpose. What is the purpose of regression? So that we are not missing any defects. Okay. Now, when I do manual testing, I go here, I take step by step and try to automate. Now, how do I know? See, how many fields you have? 4 fields you have. One is text field, another one is text field, one is button, one is link. How do I know where should I go and type? Are you guys getting what I'm saying? When I do manual testing, I know. When I say enter user ID, I know I have to go and enter the user ID in which field? In user ID field only. I know I should not enter it in the password field. But how do I tell in automation scripting where it should go and what it should do? In automation testing, you need to understand, okay. You need to understand these things. First thing is what you want to do. What you wanted to do. Point number 1. Point number 2, where you want to do. What you want to do, where you wanted to do. So you need to understand these 2 things. What you wanted to do, I want to type. Example of HRM application. What I wanted to do, type. Where you wanted to type is the second point. You need to type only on the user ID field. The next one is what? Password field. What you wanted to do, type. Where you wanted to do, in the password field only. Then the next one. Next one, I want to click on login. So what you wanted to do here, click. Where you want to click, login button. You can click into multiple places here, right? I can click on user ID field. I can click on password field. I can click on forgot your password. I can click on login button. I can click anywhere I wanted, but I need to click on only in the login page. I should not click wherever I wanted. So this means that any automation tool should identify the element. Element means web elements. We call them as generally to understand those are the fields. Those are the fields available. When it comes to automation, we use a terminology called object, web element, which object you want to perform an action. Don't take object means Java object. That's a different concept. Okay. On which element I wanted to click. Some people will call it as element. Some people call it as a web element. Some people call it as a object. Some people directly call field. On which field you wanted to click. Now, every automation tool has a concept called identifying the elements. Every automation tool is having identifying the elements. You need to identify the element. Why should I identify the element? There are so many elements in your field. So you need to perform action only on the specific field. Example, login button, right? I need to identify login button. How do you identify? Every field will have properties. What are the fields you have? User ID is one field. Password is another field. Login button is another field. Forgot your password link is another link. Link, whatever it is, a field, right? It's a link. So every field will have some properties. Every field will have some properties. Who will give those properties? Whenever developer developing the application, developer will give some properties for every field. If you don't know this, I can say you cannot do automation at all. This is the source. This is the source. What you wanted to do, you already know. What you wanted to do, everyone knows. Typing. Where you wanted to do it is the most important thing from the automation point of view. How do I know where I wanted to do? I need to get that field properties. Field properties. Every field will have some properties. Now, how do I know the properties? Now, the first question comes, how automation tool is identifying? Now, Selenium identifies objects or web elements. I would write /fields. Selenium identifies objects means the same thing. Web elements means same thing. Fields means same thing. In application under test, which is nothing but your test case, your application using below properties. I said what? Every automation tool will identify objects in your application. Every object will have what? Properties. Every object means a field. User ID is one field, password is another field, login button is another field, forgot password is another field. Every field will have some properties. How you need to identify? Now coming to the Selenium now, the concept what I said, every field has some properties that is going to be common for every application. Point number one. Point number two, any automation tool should identify the field. This is common. These two are common for any automation tool. Now, how you identify using the Selenium? How Selenium identifies using these properties? QTP also most of the time identifies the same thing, but they will use some different way. Selenium will use these properties to identify the element. QTP may use something different mechanism. Selenium uses this mechanism. There are so many tools, they have their own way, but identifying element is common for all the tools. It doesn't matter which tool you are using it. Now, Selenium, you guys got it? What do you mean by identifying elements? What you wanted to do, everyone knows. As a tester, you know what you wanted to do. What you wanted to do? You wanted to type. Where you wanted to do means identifying. Where you wanted to do means you need to identify where you wanted to perform the action. Now, what I'm saying, how Selenium is going to identify? Selenium is identifying element properties of the elements using ID, name, link, XPath, or CSS. I said every property will have, every field will have some properties. What properties developer will give you? ID. Don't think every field should have all these properties. Don't think every field should have all these properties. You may have ID. Sometimes you will not have the ID. Sometimes you will have the name. I will show you what I'm talking here. I'll just show you. First, theoretically, we understand the concept. Then I will show you on the HRM application. Okay. So now ID, it should have ID, or name, or link, or XPath, or CSS. Now, I wanted to show you how to identify properties for this user ID field. I wanted to identify properties for this particular user ID field. Now, right click on the field. For whichever field you want to identify the properties, go to that field, put the cursor, right click, and click inspect in the last option. Click on inspect, you will get this window. HTML code. So all UI will have HTML code. They use HTML to develop the UI. UI means user interface. Okay. Now this, you see this button here on top, this one, arrow mark, first button, right? Click on this and come here and click here. See, in the right side, it is highlighting these properties, right? This line is highlighted. So what it is giving, it is having a name here. You have a name and you also have ID. So what Selenium uses to identify? You have a ID, you have a name, you have a both. So what is the value of ID? ID equal to, name. It has a both properties. It has a name. It is also having the ID. I said it may have both. It may have only one. It may have ID or it may have name. It doesn't matter which one it is having. Example, I wanted to have the name. Name equal to, what is the value for the name? TXT user name. Who will give these properties? developer. Whenever developer is developing an application, they will give these properties. Whenever developer is developing an application, they are going to give you these properties. Name equal to, what is the name? TXT username. Now you also have one more property called ID. See, whenever I'm putting a cursor, it is highlighting that field. Whenever I'm moving my cursor here, it is highlighting the field. It is showing the property of the particular field. Okay. Now it is also having a name. What is the name? TXT username. They have given same name. They have given same name for ID, and as well as they have given same name for name. The value is same. Generally, you will not have it. You will not have this way. You will have different name for ID, different name for ID. It doesn't matter for us. It's up to developer. If they wanted to give same name, let them give it. I really don't mind. Whatever they wanted to give. What is my job? Getting the property value. Getting the property value to identify the element. If I don't get the property value, I cannot identify the element, right? So what it is having, it is having ID, it is also having the name, both the properties it is having. Now I wanted to get the properties for the password field. I want to get properties for password. What should I say? Again, click it here, the top one, right? Click on this icon. Once you click on this one, sorry, click here, come back. For which field you wanted to get? Just press the cursor there. That's all. Now what it is giving? See, when I'm moving cursor here, it is highlighting the password field. It means it is giving you the properties. What is that it is having? It is also having name. It is also having ID. It is having both. Now I wanted to get the properties for login. So now what I'm saying is, you are getting the properties for user ID field. You are getting properties for password field. Now I wanted to get the properties for login button, right? I want to get the properties for login button. What is the next step? Go here, put the cursor, press it, come back and press on login button. It will give you the properties of login button, right? So what it is giving? It is also having the name equal to submit, ID equal to BTN login. It is having both the properties. It is having ID, it is having the name. Okay. Now I wanted to get the properties for what? Yeah, URL developer will give you. Where do we responsible to tester is responsible for what testing? Huh? How many levels of testing you have? Unit testing, integration testing. Who is responsible for system testing? Tester. In which environment? Test environment. So this is just giving this URL. They will give you the test URL to you. They will give you the test environment URL to test it. Okay. Now you also have one more thing called forgot password. Okay. For forgot password, I don't need to click and I don't need to find. So one, I showed you how to get the value of ID. I showed you how to get the value of name. Now those are the fields. Those are the text fields. But what is the next one? Forgot password is what? Link. You don't need to find it. Just copy the link. You can find the element just with the name of the link. With the name of the link. What is the name of the link? Forgot your password. You can directly copy this link. And this would be your link. You don't need to find any properties for the hyperlinks because it is same thing. So what you have to say? Just link. Find the link. XPath we will go mostly Monday or Tuesday. We will spend more time on XPath. Most of the interview questions on the Selenium comes with the XPath only. They will ask you what is the XPath for this particular field. So when you do not have ID, when you do not have name, when it is not a link, then you have to go for XPath. For some fields, developer will not give you any ID. For some fields, they will not give you any name. And it is not a hyperlink. It's some different field, like a drop down or a text field. It's some different field. In those situations, you will not have any ID, you will not have a name, you will not have a link. Then you have to go for what? You have to go for using the XPath. Just go for using the XPath or CSS. We will stop these two things discussion. We'll keep it on hold. We'll use these properties and we'll try to write one program. Okay, we'll write one simple program for automation testing. So before going there, now what is the syntax? What is the syntax? ID equal to ID name. What is the example? TXT username. That was the name, right? And then if you wanted to use the name, whatever the value of the name, don't give name equal to name. You have to give name equal to value of the name. Example, if you go here, what is the name for the button? Submit. Name equal to submit. Is this having ID? It is also having ID. BTN login. So what is the syntax? If you're using ID, you say ID equal to value of the ID, and then name equal to name of the element, nothing but the value of the name. Okay, then link text. Link text equal to, I said copy that, whatever the link text you have, they have given here, right? You have this link text, just copy that particular link text and put it here. Okay, now XPath we will park it. XPath is a bit typical one. We will spend more time on understanding the XPath and CSS. If you understand XPath, CSS becomes an easy. Now we understood. Now Selenium commands you guys can ignore. RC, no need to declare. Discuss WebDriver. So you already know what is a WebDriver interface. If you know that concept, that is more than sufficient. You don't need to understand all these things. WebDriver is this, I'm talking about. RC is deprecated, right? RC does not support latest browsers. RC does not support latest operating system or versions of the operating system. RC does not support Android operating system. RC does not support what you call the Mac operating system. RC does not support what is that Apple operating system? What is Mac? iOS also you have, right? Whatever latest operating systems you have, new operating system, RC is not going to support because they stopped working on it. What I said, RC is deprecated. I'm just trying to explain all these things here. Okay, now installation of the WebDriver. Now before going to start our program, today I'll just try to explain how to write, how to identify. We'll try to write one simple program. Monday, I will tell you how to download, how to configure all these things you have to do. Monday, we will discuss something related to Maven. We'll talk about 90% of the projects are using the Maven tool. We will always use Selenium with the Maven. We will discuss what is Maven, why we need to use it and all. We'll discuss it on Monday. So you need to download the WebDriver. First download the JDK. You don't need to do it. You all have the JDK because we already done with the Java. So you need to go to this particular website. You don't do all these things. It's a traditional way of doing it. Now we are not using it. We are doing it with the Maven. Okay. Now open Eclipse. You don't need to follow all these steps. I'll just make it simple. Now WebDriver drivers. We need to understand this part. So WebDriver drivers. So what do you mean by WebDriver drivers? WebDriver is what? Interface. That is what I'm saying. WebDriver is the key interface against which tests are written, but there are several implementation. What is a WebDriver? Interface. Any class extending a WebDriver, what they should do? Implement. Interface should be always implemented. You have to implement the methods of the WebDriver, right? So what all these things, these includes, what these includes mean? These are, I'll just change it. These classes are implementing as simple as to say every browser in the market, one predefined. I think I already said that, right? Did I say? I already explained you. WebDriver, Chrome driver class implements WebDriver. So HTML unit driver. HTML unit driver is also one predefined class. Okay. In Firefox driver is what? Is one class. Every browser in the market is a predefined class. Always remember that. You have a Internet Explorer driver. You have Internet Explorer driver. What is that? Internet Explorer driver is one predefined class. For which browser? Internet Explorer. And you have something called Chrome driver. Chrome driver is what? Predefined class. Chrome is what? One existing browser. So all these things, Microsoft Edge is browser, iOS driver is one browser, Opera is one browser, Chrome is one browser, IE is one browser, Firefox is one browser, HTML unit driver is also one browser. All these browsers are predefined classes. I'm giving the classes names here. All these classes are implementing which interface? WebDriver. WebDriver contains what? Abstract methods. Interface contains what? Abstract methods only, right? Interface contain all abstract methods. Any class that is implementing the interface, they should provide definition. I think we understood it very detailedly when we talked about collections. List interface, collection interface, iterable interface. List is implemented by array list class, linked list class, vector class, etc. etc. Same thing. These are the classes which are implementing the WebDriver interface. Is this concept is clear? People might ask you, what is a WebDriver? Just say interface. Just stop it. One line answer. What is a WebDriver? Just say interface. Then all these classes are implementing the WebDriver interface. Example also I'm giving here. What is the interface? Interface WebDriver. WebDriver is one interface. It should be in the capital letter. WebDriver having multiple methods. WebDriver is having multiple methods. It is containing two methods. One method called get. One method called find element. Now, what is my manual step? First step, open the browser. Open the browser and type application URL. I know I'm doing manual testing. I click on browser, it will open, then I'll go and type my application URL, right? But when it comes to automation, they have one method called get. Get is a predefined method. Get is an abstract method. Rather than saying predefined method, I would say get is a abstract method in which interface? WebDriver. WebDriver is the key interface. WebDriver is the interface. That interface is containing a method called get. We'll talk about find element later. Get is what? Method. Which method? Abstract method. Why abstract method? Because it is inside the interface. Which interface? WebDriver interface. Now, which class? Chrome driver. Chrome driver is what? You have a class called Chrome driver. This class is implementing what? WebDriver. This class is implementing, this class is implementing WebDriver. This class is implementing WebDriver interface, right? So whenever I'm saying this WebDriver, this Chrome driver is implementing the WebDriver, what method you have? Get method. What this Chrome driver class should do? Provide the definition. Are you clear? We are discussing same concept multiple times. Collections, first time we discussed what is interface, we implement the method, and then later we went to the collections where again we understood we have to implement the definition. Again, we are understanding the same concept. I'm repeating it again so that you need to have this concept. Now, get means is a method. Which class is implementing the interface? Chrome driver. Chrome driver from whom? Google. Google people having one predefined class called Chrome driver. What they are doing, they are implementing an interface called WebDriver. WebDriver is having method called what? Get method and find element method. These guys should provide definition for get method. What they are writing a coding? They are writing coding to, where does it go? Down. Okay. You have Chrome driver. These guys are implementing the get method. What they are writing a coding? They are writing coding to open the Chrome browser. There are so many browsers, right? Different browsers you have. So what they are using? They are using writing coding, they're implementing definition for get method. Get method taking what? One parameter. What type of parameter it is taking? String data type. String is what? Multiple letters. What is the purpose of get method? To open the browser and type URL. Whatever parameter you are providing, it is going to type the same URL. That URL will be your test environment URL. Now there is also one more class called Firefox driver, right? You have Firefox driver class here, right? You also have one more class called Firefox driver. Firefox driver is doing what? Implementing WebDriver. Implementing WebDriver means WebDriver is having what? Get method. They have to implement coding for get method. What these guys are writing coding? They are trying to open the Firefox browser. Google people writing coding to open what? Chrome driver. Firefox people writing coding for opening Firefox browser. They will have different implementation. Yesterday we discussed array list. Array list is implementing which method? Add method. Add method is coming from where? Collection interface. List is extending collection. Array list is implementing list interface, right? So what they are implementing? Array list allowing to add only in the last and delete in the last. But what linked list people allowed? Wherever you want. They are changing the coding, right? Method is same. They are changing the coding, different classes. Now Google people writing coding to open Chrome browser. Firefox people implementing WebDriver. Again, they are Firefox people providing definition. For which method? Get method. What browser they are opening? You got the concept now? Okay. That's what everyone is doing. Go to open. Who write the code? Google people, Firefox people, Internet Explorer, Microsoft people. They are writing the coding. You are reusing. See, Selenium is all about existing classes, existing methods. Selenium is all about existing classes and existing method. What we have to do, we have to reuse them. What we have to do, we have to reuse them. If you have any job to do in Selenium, identifying the element is the major thing. Like I showed you, I showed ID equal to value of ID, name equal to name. That is the major thing what you guys have to do in Selenium. You got it? That is the major thing in the Selenium. Rest all are, you need to know what is existing class, what is existing methods in that class, what is the purpose of that class. If you know that much, I think I can say, you know Selenium. Okay. Now again, you have, yeah, I did not write for Internet Explorer and all. This is going to be the common steps. Steps to download Chrome driver.exe. Now, whichever browser you wanted to use, you need to have Chrome driver.exe file. Whichever browser you wanted to use, you need to download that particular exe file. I also given detailed steps how to download. Before coming Monday session, make sure you make it ready. Download Chrome driver.exe. Okay. And I have given the steps to download it. Now, opening the browser. Now we understood what is the WebDriver interface. What are the classes implementing the interface? We understood all existing browsers are predefined classes from different companies. One is coming from Google, one is coming from Microsoft, one is coming from Firefox, one is coming from Opera, right? Whatever methods you have. Now you need to use the specific class, which browser you wanted to use. No, we don't write test cases in Selenium. What is STLC? Software testing lifecycle. It starts with understanding the requirements, then raise your questions, get it clarified, then test plan preparation, then preparation of test cases, then execution. Preparation of test cases already completed. After that, you execute it. Means manual testing. After that, defect logging. After that, automation. You guys remember that, right? I added automation also in the STLC. So before coming to automation, you should have already completed the test cases. First, you have to write the manual test cases, then you have to automate the test cases. Now, what I'm trying to show you here, I wanted to automate this particular test case example. What is my test case? What I'm going to my test cases. I'm going to step by step. Then I'm writing the coding. In automation, don't expect you need to write any test case. In automation, you don't need to write any test cases. You already written a test cases. You already done manual testing. Then go for automation testing. What is my first step? Opening the browser. Which method I have to open a browser? Get method. What is a get method? To open a browser and type your application URL. That's what I'm trying to explain it here. What is this? Open a browser, open a web page using a WebDriver. So get, they have given two methods. One is get, another one is navigate.to. One is get method, or you can use navigate also, anything you wanted. Are the methods which are used to open the web page in a browser. Now what I'm saying, driver.get, give with the URL, which one you wanted to open, right? Now let me write a automation code. I don't want to take you directly to HRM application. First we will go for the simple thing called Google. I wanted to type, I'll go to google.com. I'll go to google.com and I wanted to type something in this particular field. That is the automation what I wanted to do. For simple, one thing we do for the day one, and later I will give you assignment. You try to write automation code for HRM login. Don't think it is difficult. It is very easy. Once you understand it, it is very easy. Okay. Now I'll go to write a program. You don't go to write a program directly. It will not work for you. You need to download you need to download Chrome driver.exe. You need to download Selenium WebDriver. You need to configure that Selenium WebDriver to your project. These are the steps which we need to do. I'm just trying to explain you how to open a browser today, how to open a browser and how to type something on a particular field. Okay. Later, Monday, we will do everything with the Maven. Okay. You don't have to worry. For other, we can do project. In further sections, yeah, there are so many things to learn in Selenium. We will be learning them. Okay. Now I already have a project here, which is already configured everything. So I'm not showing you configuration and everything today. Monday, I'll tell you that. Okay. Right now, I'm just trying to write one program. Pack one. Okay. Now I'm creating one example. Okay. I'm just giving the class as Selenium demo. Just click Selenium demo. Click on finish. It's fine. Okay. Now, what I have to do, first I have to say, okay, let me copy some code. So these things are common. System.setProperty. The first statement in your WebDriver code is this one. System.setProperty. Which browser you wanted to do? WebDriver.chrome.driver. This is going to be changed. If I'm using Edge, WebDriver.edge. If I'm using Internet Explorer, it will be WebDriver.Internet Explorer. Based on type of the browser you wanted to do, you need to set that particular property. Then when I wanted to use Chrome as a browser, what I said, I need to download the Chrome driver.exe file. What I did now, I already downloaded. Where I saved that Chrome driver.exe, I saved it in C drive. Go to C drive under Ashok. You see Chrome here. This is the Chrome driver, which you guys have to download it. Before coming Monday session, try to keep your Chrome driver.exe is ready. Okay. Now where it is available? It is available in this particular path. C colon under Ashok. I am specifying the path. You need to specify where your Chrome driver.exe is available. This line is going to be common for every program that you are doing in Selenium. Okay. System.set property, you need to specify which browser you wanted to use. You also need to specify where is the driver that exe file is available. Okay. Now next step, WebDriver driver, rather than saying anything, this would be the WebDriver driver equal to new Chrome driver. What I said, Chrome driver is a predefined class. Chrome driver is a predefined class. Why I am saying WebDriver equal to new Chrome driver? Why I cannot say WebDriver? Because what is WebDriver? What is a WebDriver? Interface. Can you create object to interface? So which browser I wanted to use? I wanted to use the Chrome browser. That's why I'm saying Chrome driver. Now see, whenever I'm using WebDriver, I need to import the WebDriver. I need to import the WebDriver. I'm also using what? Chrome driver. You also need to import Chrome driver class. If you don't import, it will throw an error. Put the cursor there, it will ask you to import. Just click on import. Now let me, I'll delete import. Okay, I'll delete this import. Now it is immediately throwing an error. Put the cursor there, it will ask you to import. Just use import, and then Chrome driver you have to import. Now what I wanted to open, which method? I wanted to open a browser and I wanted to type a URL. Which method you have to use? Get method. Get method is available under which class? Implementation is implemented given where? I mean, where the definition is given. All the classes, Chrome driver class they have given, Internet Explorer they have given, Firefox people they have given, everyone has given the implementation. Now which browser I am using? Chrome driver. So how do you call a method? Object name dot method name. Which browser I am using? Chrome driver. For which class I created object? Chrome driver. So driver dot get, it will automatically give you driver dot get. What is a driver? An object. For which class? Chrome driver. If you guys are getting confused, instead of saying WebDriver driver, you can even say this way also. You can even say Chrome driver equal to new Chrome driver. We will discuss why we need to write the WebDriver, why not the Chrome driver. Mostly they ask the question, where are we writing WebDriver equal to new Chrome driver? Can I write Chrome driver equal to new Chrome driver? Answer is yes. Then why are you writing WebDriver interface? That I will explain. Not to put everything in one class to confuse you. Now what I'm saying, get is a method. Get method is coming from where? WebDriver interface. Chrome driver is a what? Predefined class. Chrome driver is doing what? Implementing the WebDriver interface. Whenever a class implements an interface, what it should do? It should provide the definition. Chrome driver class provided the definition. Now Chrome driver definition is available in which class? Chrome driver class. So how do you call a method? Which method you have to use? Open browser get method. How do you call a method? Object name dot method name. So what is my object? Driver. What is my URL? We will give application URL later. For now, we'll do one example for Google. Driver dot get, give the URL. URL is what? String data type. So string should be given in the double quotes. That's all. Any difficulties here? All are predefined. What you need to know, you need to understand. We have to write the code in WebDriver. No, same thing. Use Eclipse only. Use Eclipse. Create one new project. I will tell you, don't even create a new project. Monday, I will explain you how to create a project. Don't do anything. Today, just do whatever, like prepare for Java FAQs if you wanted. Go with manual testing FAQs, Java FAQs. Then Monday, I will show you how to create a Maven project. Okay, everything we will start with the Maven only. Okay, now get is a what? I'm repeating multiple times because you can remember it. Get is a what? predefined method. This method is coming from where? WebDriver interface. That WebDriver interface contains get means abstract method. Get is means abstract method. Which class is implementing? Chrome driver. Chrome driver is a what? Predefined class. Who has written the code for Chrome driver? Google people, because it is coming from Google, and they have written a code for what? Get method. What code they have written? To open the browser and type application URL. In which browser? Chrome browser. So get is method implemented in which class? Chrome driver, right? So how can you call a method? Object name dot method name. So line number 11, what I am doing? Creating an object. We created so many objects, right? Student st1 equal to new student. Student is what? Our own defined class. But Chrome driver is what? Predefined class. Now when I say driver dot get, now run the program. Same, just click run button. You don't need to run separately for Selenium. I mean WebDriver. Just click and run. Now see what it will do. It will go and open your Chrome browser and type your application URL. See, is it opening? Did I open manually? So only one line of the code we have written. What is one line? Driver dot get. Now you are done with what? Step one. What is the step one? Any automation, any manual testing, first you have to open the browser. Next step is what? Type the application URL. Now, how many methods you have to open the browser and type application URL? Two methods. One is get, another one is navigate.to. Now, I'll use one more method. I would say driver dot navigate dot to. I'll give my statement. Just I'll comment the first one. Okay. Now same thing. Get is also opening the browser and typing the URL. Navigate.to also opening the browser and typing URL. Just click on run. Same thing. It will also go and open the browser. It opened, right? Now I want to close the browser. See how many times I run the program? 2 times. One is with get method, one is with navigate.to method. How many times I executed? 2 times. How many browsers it opened? 2 Is it close the browsers? Is it not closed? See, this is one is already opened just now. So I have to close it manually. It also opened one more browser previously. I have to close that also manually. Now you have one more method called close method. Opening the browser, get method. Closing the browser, close method. So what I have to say? Driver dot close. So now close method is used to close the browser. Now you understand. I think notes is already there, everything. I believe I have given everything. Difference between driver dot get, mostly interview ask question. This anyhow will make a note later. Now what it will do? It will this method to open the browser. This method to close the browser. Just run it. It closed. Opening. I'm writing any big complicated coding here. All remember Selenium WebDriver is all about predefined classes and predefined methods. You just have to use them. To use them, you need to understand method name. To use that method, you need to understand that method is available in which class. Because if you don't know the class, you cannot call the method because you have to call with the object. To use the method, you have to call it. To call the method, you have to create object. That's what we are trying to do here. Is it clear or any questions in understanding? I repeat, WebDriver is interface. It contains abstract methods. One example method what we are using? Get method. Get method takes what parameter? String parameter. What is that string? URL. What is the URL? Your application URL. Application means you will have different environments. Test environment, UAT environment, pre-production environment, and Production. Which environment URL I have to give? Production. I'm just saying nearly to 1.5 hours, right? Are you active or not? Which URL you have to give? Production or test environment? Test environment. You have to give the test environment. What it will do? It will open your browser. So how to call a method? With object name. Which method I have to call? Get method. Which browser you are opening? Chrome. Which in which class implemented to open the Chrome browser? Chrome driver. You have to create an object for which class? Chrome driver class. Object name is what? Driver. Method name is what? Get. Driver dot get. You are calling the method. What parameter it is taking? String. It is a URL. You have to give your application test environment URL. Remember that. If you wanted to test it in test environment, you have to use the test. You want to test it in UAT, just change the URL to UAT. So you have one more method in WebDriver. What is that method? Navigate.to. So what this method? Same, opening the browser. You have one more method, which is called close method, which is called close method. Close method is used to what? Chrome. Close is coming from where? WebDriver interface. Chrome driver class is implementing. Always remember, whenever I say a class, it is coming from some class, and that class is implementing WebDriver interface. Ultimately, like what we discussed, the collections, it will go to list. From list, where it will go? Collection interface. From collection, where it will go? Interval. Same thing we are doing here. Ultimately, it is going to WebDriver only. All the methods we are using are most of the time from WebDriver. It depends upon which browser you wanted to use. You have to create object for that particular browser. You understood this concept? Every program, this code is common. Get is common, close is common. Navigate.to is also common. Okay. I think Bhagya, you forgot manual testing, I believe. Writing test cases is mandatory. Writing test cases are mandatory. That's why I repeated STLC. First, what? Understand the requirement, then clarify your questions, then prepare test plan, then write the test case. In manual testing, did we write the test cases? We have written, right? Course completed means definitely we have written. I'm just seeing whether you are still someone is showing dilemma of it. Did we discuss? We did. We executed manual testing. We raised the defects. Then only we are coming here. So you have to write the manual test cases. You cannot directly jump to automation. We have to write test cases. Yes. Okay. I think explain again abstract method. I think I explained multiple times today itself. We discussed about what is abstract method, which will not have any definition. Interface contains what only. See guys, if you are not clear about Java, what is abstract method, what is package, how to import a package, utilize this time, Saturday and Sunday, refresh yourself with Java. Refresh yourself with Java, because once we entered into Selenium, if someone asks me what is method, why are we calling a driver.get? Basic things we already learned, right? Try to refresh yourself. Automation, I think I already explained now also. Abstract method which will not have any definition. Okay. WebDriver code who write? Google has written, Microsoft has written, Safari people has written, Firefox people written. There are so many people involved in writing the coding. Okay. More, how many days course continues? Mostly in end of next month, maybe in the third week of next month, we should be able to complete. Worst case, end of the month. Can we use Selenium WebDriver for Android app or iOS app? And also Selenium can be used database testing. Database testing, most of the time we don't do with the automation. Just write the queries. Okay. Now, mostly interview ask question, make a note. Difference between, it's already given, you can even look at and note. Difference between driver.get and driver.navigate. Difference between driver.get. Difference between driver.get and driver.navigate. Answer is Driver dot navigate. Whenever I say driver dot, always think it's an object name. Don't think method name itself is driver dot navigate. Always understand driver is a object. Otherwise, you can make difference between get and navigate method. Okay. So navigate method maintains the history. Navigate method maintains the history. Navigate method maintain the history of the browser. History of the browser. History of the browser. It allows to perform below actions. 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 Point number 1. Clicking forward button. You guys can see the browser. See, browser will have, just hold on noting down. See, browser will have 2 buttons. One is back button, one is forward button. You are seeing it right on the top. So what if I wanted to click on this back button? If I wanted to click on this back button, navigate and will allow. I mean, how to automate to click on back button on the browser? Navigate dot. Okay, now you understood back and forward, right? Means which is on the browser. You can continue. What did you note? It allows to clicking on forward button. Clicking on forward button using forward method. Using forward method. The next point. It allows to click on back button. It allows to click back button of the browser. Using back button. Using back method. Like you have a forward method to click on forward button. You have a back button to click on back button. Next point number 3. Point number 3. It allows to refresh your browser. It allows to refresh your browser. It allows to refresh your browser. Now you can see here, every browser will have this refresh button, right? On top. Do you see here? You star and refresh. If I press this, what it is doing? It is refreshing my browser. Just refresh. Oh, sorry, here. Yeah, here, left side. Click on what this navigate method allows you to click on this button.